All right, the Xbox Game Showcase just wrapped up, and this is an interesting one for Microsoft because we were hearing a lot of talk going into this, especially since Asha Sharma showed up and started running the show, and she said she heard people, right? And it's one thing to say that; it's another thing to actually do some stuff and make some changes. She's done a few smaller things here or there that I think was just it was a bit easier to say, for example, make it so that your playtime says hours instead of days, or play around with some of the achievement settings, or even remove Call of Duty out of Game Pass to make it a little cheaper month to month. No, it's a bigger deal when you start changing where games are releasing and actually bringing back the idea of Xbox exclusives. And I did not expect it to happen here this soon, but that's what we're going to look at here today. Some immediate reactions to the Xbox Game Showcase and why I'm looking at this could change everything for Microsoft going into the next generation. So if you guys enjoy the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. They started off right away with Gears of War E-Day. Why wouldn't you? This is obviously like their big release heading into the fall, with of course Call of Duty being massive for them. Gears though should be a lot of fun with the multiplayer that they have set up for it, and it looks great. I mean, it obviously it's like a prequel setup, and you have Marcus Phoenix and the crew, and they're much younger. But I think it looked pretty cool in the idea that they're fighting through convenience stores that are very reactive as he's firing through glass, and things are shattering. Fruit was flying all over the place in the store, and he had like this bayonet rush where he like runs into him and like stabs him. It looked really cool, very up close and personal at times. And they have the chainsaw kill at the end. October 6th on this one. The reason this, while it is Gears E Day and it's already interesting to Gears War fans, but this was it seems like was actually going to come out on the PS5 as soon as like as recent as a week or so ago. I mean, based on some of the stuff that was going around, it does appear that an executive decision was made leading up to this show to remove the PlayStation 5 version. And we know that because what yesterday Jeff Grubb said in his podcast or what have you there during like the summer game fest stuff that was going on, that he heard that the PlayStation 5 version was basically canceled or removed or shelved. And then they show up here and they say Xbox console exclusive. They've now brought that back. So Gears of War E-Day is, I think of the multiplayer games as ones that do need like to cast a wide net for players. So you feel like Gears of War E-Day would be one they'd go, you know what, it's already been set in motion. They told us about the game before Asha Sharma comes in and starts now definitely changing things up behind the scenes. So you feel like they would have that set with the idea of we'll also have the PlayStation 5 user base that's coming up on 100 million consoles sold. No, they're like, hey, this is console exclusive for the Xbox, and clearly going into next generation, it would be a big selling factor there, I assume, as well. So that's not the only, by the way, Xbox console exclusive that we're going to look at here. While Gears of War is a storied franchise, there's actually a new franchise, or a new IP, I should say, a new game that is also Xbox console exclusive that they showed later on in this showcase. So they went from Gears of War to Fable, and they went from Fable to Halo. So you can kind of see the setup there with some of their most important properties that have been with Xbox for quite some time. And I think all three games look good. Fable, they even gave us the release date, February 23rd on that one. The PS5 logo was there. This is where the messaging becomes kind of mixed, okay? And that's the issue we'll bring up a bit later here as we go. Halo Campaign Evolved, I think looks awesome. Some of the stuff they show with the cutscenes with him and Sarge going through what are going to be new missions that they've added in, and it looks like they're like prequel missions is what the word was. So they have brutes in there, they have different weapons from like different type, like they're obviously putting this out there to start to, I mean, you could say reimagine, but almost reboot the franchise, I think, and kind of set some things up for the future here. But that is coming out July 28th, so it's less than 2 months away. I'll be on that right away, like immediately. And 4-player co-op online. I'll get some people and we'll run through the game. Probably I probably at least twice, because usually you'd go back and clean up some collectibles or skulls or what have you. So I'm thinking there's gonna be a lot of fun stuff to get in that game. Persona fans, we got Persona 4 Revival, February 18th. And there was a Persona 6 sighting. I say a Persona 6 sighting because there actually wasn't much else about it. I mean, it looks like it is a green color scheme, as we've kind of been kicking around, and it seemed like they were, yeah, why wouldn't they line it up then with Xbox? But nothing really shown otherwise. Xbox, PC, and PlayStation 5 logos were all present. I also want to point out this Magician's the Devil's Deal. This is one of those situations where, like, you don't think about a game like this, and you don't know you want a game like this until they show it to you, and then you want a game like this, and it's a magician first person shooter adventure game. And I say that because they show, like, the entire setup is like this show that's happening, and you're a magician, and then you're being attacked, the devil's in like the audience and stuff, but you have playing cards that you can manipulate, and you're like launching them at people like Gambit style. But then you have a wand, and you hit something and it turns into flower petals, and it has kind of the illusion stuff built into it. But it just looks so unique and interesting. It's one that certainly caught me off guard. It's from Uppercut Games and Focus Entertainment, and they say it's coming out in 2027. So, okay, next year. See more about that one. Oh, and tell me, that Crazy Taxi trailer was not awesome. I like the little build up there where they're stacking the cans, and then Axel goes flying by in the Crazy Taxi car with the Offspring playing immediately, hitting with nostalgia. And it looks super over the top. Looks crazy as it's supposed to. But they even had some cuts from the original one where you're going down like the streets and massive hills and flying all over the place. 2027 on this one: Xbox, PlayStation 5, Switch 2, PC. It's called Crazy Taxi World Tour, so I guess that's alluding to the idea of, yeah, just globe trotting basically all over the place. So they could have some really cool ideas, I feel like, for different settings. We got the release date for Castlevania Belmont's Curse. That is October 15th. I mean, the game looks great. I'm ready for it to come out at this point. I don't need to see any more on that one. October makes sense, kind of that Halloween spooky season. But the animation looks good, the art style. There was even a point I noticed where when they were jumping around platforming, they went into the background for a picture, like the portraits. So maybe that's something that will play into the idea of dodging certain like screen filling abilities, like get to the portrait and you'll kind of sink into it and avoid any of that. So it was just like quick, like blink it or you'll miss it kind of thing there. And we also got a Spyro game. So A Realm Beyond, Toys for Bob. There it is. That, I guess that was the contract that they were working on with Microsoft and Activision. There was just a quick shot of the gameplay. Spyro's flying around and shooting all kinds of stuff, but it is set for spring 2027, so not too far off, less than a year away. Xbox, PlayStation 5, Switch 2, and PC. They closed out with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 DMZ. Call of Duty closeouts it's a choice. I don't really, I guess, I don't know. I think people who want Call of Duty are already like sold. They're gonna buy Call of Duty. I don't know if they won anyone over with this DMC or a DMZ trailer or anything, so I don't know. But Clockwork Revolution looks legitimately interesting. Again, they've already shown it, but this is from InXile. It's kind of that steampunk style. BioShock Infinite is still the vibes I get from it. But then they show off some of the unique twists, like the time travel element, where you have like this, it looks like this gauntlet that can also manipulate time. You should freezing people like in motion and then punching them and sending them flying. I look like there's like telekinesis going on, so you're manipulating objects, I guess, with your mind or this gauntlet. It is coming out in 2027. It's also an Xbox console exclusive. So we have Gears of War E-Day, and then we have Clockwork Revolution. Two, I'd say high quality looking games, interesting looking games. One, a story franchise, the other one, a brand new one. And that Xbox console exclusivity is getting thrown around now. The issue, right, I'd say currently for Microsoft is the mixed messaging that they're going through. So on one hand, they're throwing Xbox console exclusivity around, but on the other, they have Fable and Halo with the PlayStation 5 logo next to it, and it does look very strange when you see that. And it's one thing for a long running game like Sea of Thieves that's been around for forever now. Obviously, they're going to put a PS5 logo next to it. It's another thing when you show off a game that is like releasing here in a few months or even next year with something like Fable that still has that PlayStation 5 logo next to it. So it's just a strange thing that Microsoft is going to have to work through over the course of honestly the next couple of years, just with how long game development takes. The thing though, I'll give them credit. It's when Microsoft does these shows, they have many, many studios. So they can show up here with a list of games that are like genuinely different, like a lot of variety here. But also you see there's quite a few third parties participating here with Sega being a big one. And this is a good year for Microsoft to have Sega on board because the Persona fans have been begging for the Persona 6 announcement. And while they didn't show much, they still finally got it. Like that's the thing. It's like it's out there. It's official. And while there was concept art and stuff floating around, this is really what they were waiting to see, that recognition. And I mean, they're kind of on the road now to I guess the Persona 6 release. We think late 2027. But you know what? It's an interesting one for Microsoft now. I was skeptical, as I think many people were, around the idea that they would actually go back to Xbox console exclusives. They'll still release on PC, and they're going to have to think about Steam. And if they, so the other part is Microsoft clearly on PC releases want people to use the Windows Store in this Xbox mode, but releasing on Steam while it's still Windows, I mean, if you think about it, they're still giving a 30% cut to Valve. And if they are indeed seeing Valve as more and more competition, like many of us figure right now, they're going to start looking at them more and more like PlayStation. And if it just needs to be like a Xbox or Xbox on PC kind of exclusive and they skip Steam, that's a tough one because that's where most of the sales on PC happen. But I mean, I gotta give Asher Sharma credit. It seemed like it was a 0 hour poll with Gears of War E-Day, and she made it happen. Xbox console exclusive. How will that work out? At least in the short term, probably not. Well, like I don't know how many people are going out and buying Series X systems at their current price point. But going into, say, next generation, especially if they can figure something out for like the more budget-oriented consumer here, getting into games, whether that's cloud streaming or maybe another cut-down Xbox Series S-like device, I mean, they might have something there as exclusives, yes, do drive people to your platform, whether it's a console or some kind of entertainment. I mean, it could be streaming platforms, even going into retail stores, whatever, right? We know it's been proven for a long time. Exclusives do bring traffic generally and get people interested in your product. But let me know what you guys thought about this show down below in the comments. I was actually pretty happy with it. I mean, I honestly, I think it's like a B plus for me. The thing that still gets me is the idea of closing out with Call of Duty. I think there could have been a more exciting closeout for this for this show. And I know Persona 6 isn't Microsoft's. That would have been a closeout level one, right? You know, something like that. So maybe Microsoft can, I mean, continue to take feedback and go, you know what? Call of Duty is big, but it's not necessarily something that people who are tuning in, really plugged into these shows, are like, yes, we're closing out with Call of Duty, finally. That's just not really a thing. But let me know what you guys think, though, down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.